Good evening, I hope everyone's well today, thank you for watching. When I was little, and for most of my adult life, I never paid much attention to religion, or specifically other religions, or the colour of people's skin. It was a non-issue for me. I was like, yeah, whatever, don't care. It's an issue for me now, and it's an issue for me very specifically because the othering of people. And when I say the othering of people, I mean the othering of the native people of the United Kingdom, of the British Isles, while those we have imported into our culture, into our country, they have a problem with me, not the other way around. And this is what I find disturbing, and this is what we're going to get into in the video. There's something that's been launched by failed First Master of Scotland, Humza Hapless Yusuf. That's the thing there for a moment. He's very, very racist. We all know this. He's probably the most hateful and racist person in the United Kingdom. We all know this, but we're going to look at this in a moment or so. So I'm going to play this now. This is about the Muslim Impact Council. This is something relatively new. So I'm going to play this now.
Forum is needed now more than ever before. I think it's fair to say that the challenges not just the Muslim community faces, but humanity faces, are very grave indeed.
I want to stop here because you'll see all the way through the video, first of all, Hapless Humza always refers to himself as Muslim. Not British, Muslim. This is the prism that he, and presumably all of the people in this forum, see themselves through first and foremost. Muslim first, everything else is secondary or tertiary. This is important and it's quite disturbing.
Very difficult times that we live in. You can see in the United Kingdom alone the rise of the far right.
When we say far right, what we mean is they've had a very protected gilded cage over the past 30 years of liberalism, centrist liberalism. Anything slightly to the right of that is extreme, dangerous, far right. That's why everything and anything that we talk about now is far right. Because we've never been able to talk about it because they throw the R word around, you're racist, or the B word, you're a bigot, and they want that to end the debate, stop the conversation, move on, the gammons have been jacked.
Driven by anti-Muslim hatred.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's not about Muslimness or perceived Muslimness, as the laws will soon state. It's much deeper than that. It's incompatible cultures, and that's not a bad thing. Inherently, all cultures are different, alright? If you look at the demographic makeup of the native French, composited to the native British, they are specific, distinct and different, and we're two countries that are divided by like a 20-mile gap of water, alright?
And that's not just common to the United Kingdom, it's common to Europe, and of course we can see also in the United States as well. And then in the East, we see some major challenges, thinking about particularly the genocide in Gaza, but many challenges across the world. And yet, the Muslim community is huge in number, very wealthy, very generous. We have amongst our numbers entrepreneurs, business owners, NGOs, charities, philanthropists, social activists, politicians, media, journalists, and so much more. And the purpose of the Muslim Impact Forum is how do we bring these people, how do we bring that talent together to say, here's the challenges we face and humanity faces. If we can strategically align our skills, our talent, then actually we can solve these problems to the betterment of the whole of humanity.
Let's just pause that there for a minute. I want to do a little bit of a mind experiment, thought experiments. Say tomorrow I decide I'm going to set up a Caucasian Impact Forum. It's for people that look like me, pink people, not white. If you look at the boards behind me, that's white. I'm not white, I'm pink. Alright? I'm a person of colour by that definition. Don't assume that I'm white. I'm not white, and I find that offensive. See how pathetic that line of inquiry goes. It's ridiculous. It's laughable. That point aside, if I decided tomorrow I want to set up a Caucasian impact forum for people that look like me, only for people that look like me, all right, or a Christian or a Catholic impact forum for people of my particular race and religion, we're going to come together and we're going to make sure that we facilitate how to get my people into politics, how to get my people specifically into positions of power, whether that be democratic institutions, whether that be the non-democratic institutions like the museums, the universities, and any position of power and influence all over the country. Would that be allowed? And that's my sectarian goal, to divide people. Okay, white people over there, brown people there, black people there, Muslims over here, Hindus up here, Jews, I don't know, wherever the Muslims want to do with the Jews. I'll leave that to your imagination and my view. Not all Muslims, just the most extreme. This is deeply disturbing. This is deeply worrying. Let's inverse it slightly. Let's take it a step further. Say we've got this Caucasian or Christian Caucasian impact forum. Let's say we supplant it into Pakistan or India. Would that even be allowed? Would the majority population, would their ruling elites even allow that to be a thing, or would you be arrested and put in prison and deported on sight? Think about it. A lot of people think that the Western world is how the entire world is. That is not true. We are a specific part of the world, all right? Other cultures are different. Other places are different. They think different things. This is not inherently a negative. This isn't a inherent flaw. This is pointing out the facts, and this is stating the, well, I think is pretty obvious. Anyway, I digress. We'll continue.
And that's why I'm delighted to be a supporter, to be working with the Muslim Impact Forum. Look, I used to attend conferences. I was in government for 12 years, different roles. Sajjad, you missed out 2 or 3 of those roles in your introduction. But I spent 12 years in government, and I attended conferences very regularly. And some of them were talking shops. You went there, you didn't achieve much. But the Muslim Impact Forum this year in April was the very opposite. It was a forum where people took action, and that's why I'm very pleased to be able to support it. I don't know if you have it, because you were there obviously at the forum as well.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of being there last April, and the forum, for me, my first experience was quite a rare and unique opportunity to see what was over 250 people from across the world come together, all with one purpose, to see what we could do collectively to try and improve the lives of Muslims across the world.
They see themselves globally as Muslims. They don't distinguish by any other defining characteristic. They are merely political tools. So when you get a Muslim population, or Muslims like the two in this video, will be specific, not generalised, that's important. They've got a very specific goal, and they're not even being this isn't what we're trying to do. They're very, very clear about it. This is what we are doing. We want to make sure that our people get into positions of power all over the world, all these different countries, from their own words. Is me calling this out an issue? Is this what we mean by the proposed definition of Islamophobia? If I take umbrage with this, am I going to be put in prison for 10 years?
But not just for the Muslims, because as Muslims we believe what's good for Muslims is actually good for everyone.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Alright, as a Christian, you don't get to tell me what's good for you is good for me. Just like if I try to say publicly in this predominantly Christian country, what's good for Christians is good for all. What would you say to me? What would you say to me? You'd call me a racist in my own country, and you'd tell me to get back on my box. Well, no, hapless so that's exactly what I'm telling you to do here. And your little conspirator, your co-conspirator, your collaborator. This is exactly what I'm saying to you. This is not acceptable in Britain.
That's the prophetic tradition that we believe in, and that.
So you believe in prophecy? You believe in fairy tales and and prophecy, so we all have to. Well, maybe I do. Maybe I believe in the Holy Book, the St. James. Maybe that's my prophecy. You don't get to dictate to me, sunshine, what faith I follow. And there's many people that aren't of my faith that are of no faith, all right. To me, they're not heretics. My faith is not incumbent on them believing what I believe. That's called freedom. This is the mindset that they're projecting and is deeply, deeply, deeply... This has no place in the UK. Tell me if I'm wrong.
That's our mission. And what I'd add to that, I think, with that brilliant introduction from Brother Hamza, that I spent 40 years in my career working just in the UK, in the public sector, throughout that time. And like many others, I've seen lots of changes in that period, those 4 decades. And I would say, hand on heart now, that we are at a tipping point in this country, and it's reflected in other countries as well, where we either try and do something different, to try and self-organize Muslims, to represent ourselves better, to use our resources better.
What he thinks, right, here it is, right. This is my take on it. For the past 40 or 50, basically since decolonisation, and since the people from the former empire countries, such as Pakistan and India, have come to Britain, there are other nations, Bangladesh, for example. They've been doing it discreetly. But now the Gammons, the native people, the people that actually think that Britain should be for British people, they've noticed what's going on. This is what he's saying, there's a tipping point here. And there is a tipping point, and this is what he's alluding to. They want their people, and when I say their people, that's their terminology. I'm not othering them, they're othering themselves. This is their terminology, alright? And they want their people in positions of power to stop the inevitable remigrations, which they have got a problem with. Now, I've never been to Pakistan. All right, it's not my country, it's not my place. My place is in Britain with the British people. If Pakistan is so wonderful and so brilliant, why would they all so eager to leave? And this is a serious question. I don't know if Pakistan is a third world hellhole or not. I'm told it is. I don't know from my own experience. Why do they all want to leave?
And to influence the countries that we live in better than we have done already. Brother Hamza is a relatively rare and unique political talent.
He's a deeply, deeply, deeply misogynistic and racist person. We all know what he thinks of white people. He has a visceral hatred for white people, the indigenous population of the country that he calls his home. Also, the country that, by the looks of it, is very open to letting him colonise. Reverse colonisation.
Actually, we need many more people like him at the top of government, in every government, in this country, across the 4 nations and in other governments, that can influence, sit at the top table and make a difference on behalf of the Muslims. In this country, there are 4 million Muslims, and that number is growing fast. But of those 4 million, 50% are under the age of 25. 1/3 are actually under the age of 15. So it's a very, very young community. Those young British Muslims, what kind of future are they facing?
Mass deportations, let's be clear. Mass deportations, remigration, that's where it's all going towards. I wouldn't say I'm aiming for it personally. But if there was a right of centre government that came in that advocated for that policy, I just wouldn't object to it. That's different to advocating for it. There is a nuance, there is a difference there.
The British Impact Forum, I hope, if it does nothing else, it gives them hope as well, that we can come together, we can use our collective energy, our intellect, our resources, and our influence to try and create a country and other countries that will create a future for them, that we can be proud that they are British, they are European, they are world citizens. Our grandchildren demand that we do something different now, I think.
See, that's the thing. They use the leftist rhetoric of a citizen of the world as a Trojan horse. Or it was a Trojan horse until very recently. Now you get them in public, and this is what they're advocating for, as essentially a take over from the inside by getting into all of the institutions, and that's why you've got like 700 plus Muslim Council or Advisory Board advising the Home Office, and the woke liberals, the thick liberals, the dumb liberals go along with it because they think if they don't, then they're racist. Well, no, that's not true. I've demonstrated categorically that's not true. The racism is by the minorities over the majority population, and the ruling elites are allowing it to happen.
But in the present environment, when the far right is rising, especially you are on the target of them and our community as well. Actually, what to do? What is the forum to?
Yeah. Well, look at it. First of all, it brings us together because far too many times there's some wonderful projects that are being done, wonderful work being done on the media, creativity. Our people are very creative on digital media as well as on traditional media. But actually, who is bringing us together to say strategically we have to think not just about the next month or the next 6 months, but the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years? Our responsibility to our future generations, for the young generation population, as Javed has said just a moment ago.
So we'll leave that one there, I think. We'll leave that one there. So if anyone's not disturbed by that, then I've got 2 or 3 bridges that I can sell you at a knockdown price. This is deeply disturbing. This is highly concerning and problematic. Nobody that I know ever voted for this, and many people would say, Damien, Cheshire, what's the big deal? We didn't vote for it. We don't want it. And it's not just Humza Yousaf. He is the biggest racist in Britain. We all know this. Who can remember his wait speech in Holyrood? Let's just have a look at this.
In Scotland are filled almost exclusively by those who are white. Take my portfolio alone.
It's very, very telling, as I say, this Muslim, self-identified Muslim, sees himself as Muslim, not British, has a major problem with the demographics of the United Kingdom. And boy, do we know he wants to change that.
The Lord President, white. The Lord Justice Clerk, white. Every High Court judge, white. The Lord Advocate, white. The Solicitor General, white. The Chief Constable, white. Every Deputy Chief Constable, white. Every Assistant Chief Constable, white.
He goes on and on and on and on. Now, if you think it's specific to him in the Scottish Parliament, you're wrong. This is the Scottish Labour leader, Anna Sarwar. You'll find that his words are exactly the same, just slightly less venom towards the white people than Humza.
Every executive of every council and every government department, white. Every director of a department in Scotland, white. Every principal of a college or university in Scotland, white. Every head teacher in Scotland, white. Every chair of a public sector body in Scotland, white.
So it's not a SNP issue. It seems to be a particular demographic. They identify themselves as different, separate, other than the native population. And then we look at Anna Sarwar's father, alright?
That time will come that there will be a law in place all over the world that there can be no disrespect to our beloved Holy Prophet Hazrat Muhammad. That time will come.
So there we go. He actually wants the blasphemy laws that the Labour Party is trying to bring in. This is the end game, alright? Did you vote for this? Did I vote for this? Is democracy real? Does our consent matter? This is why I'm posting this video, because I find all of this deeply, deeply troubling. Again, when I was a child, I didn't see any of this as an issue. It's been thrown on my face, and it's been made an issue. Sectarian politics has no place in the United Kingdom. I appreciate your time. Have a good day.